Big Finish is currently celebrating its 20th anniversary of producing Doctor Who on audio drama this week, I thought that I would do a slightly different Doctor Who Big Finish video to usual and take a look at some of my recommendations that I recommend to both experienced Doctor Who audio drama fans but also new listeners who wish to start their journey into the audio drama universe. Now, of course, very recently Big Finish have released the 20th anniversary Big Finish special, which is of course the Legacy of Time, a 6-hour adventure featuring multiple incarnations of the Doctor, as well as many familiar faces from River Song, Bernie Summerfield, President Romana and Leela, alongside of course countermeasures as well. And at the end of the day, that box set is a perfect opportunity for listeners to jump on to the Big Finish universe and actually take a look at a few of the many different eras that Big Finish actually provide audio dramas for. However, naturally Big Finish does of course also have a very large back catalogue, of course as expected from producing Doctor Who audio dramas for a whole 20 years. They've not just created adventures for the Doctor, but also many spin-offs as well, and making that decision to pick audio dramas for the first ever time can in fact be quite a daunting one, and you don't really know where to start. I know because I was once in that position. So today's video is in fact going to be a little bit of a helpful guide to take a look at some of the releases that you may want to consider. And likewise, if you are an experienced audio drama fan, maybe some of the recommendations that I provide throughout this video will also make you realise that there is a few other series out there that you've not yet considered, however you may after this video. So naturally, every single release that I mention throughout this video is available to be purchased on the Big Finish website. The more recent releases and the non-limited edition ones are available in physical edition on the Big Finish website along with digital downloads. However, the monthly range releases from issue 1 to 100 are now only available in the download format. And naturally, if you like what you hear from some of my recommendations throughout this video, then I recommend checking out the further details also on the Big Finish website, where there will be additional story information and also a trailer that you can listen to as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of my Doctor Who Big Finish recommended listens. So I'm going to start this video off on a high and take a look at the War Master series, of course starring Derek Jacobi as the War Master. Now in particular I'm going to be talking about this release, Only the Good, which was in fact the first volume of War Master Adventures. And generally what I really love about this series is that it has gave Derek Jacobi as the Master the exposure that the TV show didn't give him throughout Utopia. And he is in fact one of my favourite incarnations of the Master, simply from only the current 3 volumes that he has starred in. I really do love them. Of course, recently I've also reviewed the 3rd volume of box sets, being the Rage of the Time Lords, of course starring Derek Jacobi and Paul McGann. And I think what's brilliant about this series is that each box set from this one, as well as the Master of Callus and Rage of the Time Lords, which is currently in the post, that's why I've not got it in my hands right now, is that these box sets are unique in their own way. Only the Good is a really lovely box set that takes place in the latter end of the War Master's life, where he is currently within the Time War, has experienced quite a lot, and he has quite a grand plan, and also takes up quite a doctory role throughout this box set as well. And what I love about this box set is that you can purchase it and you have all of the knowledge within this release that you need. You don't need any prior knowledge from other box sets, there isn't particularly any other references to any series. All 4 adventures within this set are unique in their own way, however have a plot arc that stretches all the way throughout and reaches a very satisfying climax. It is a really lovely set and the strongest of the War Master series so far. Likewise, you do have the Master of Callus, which takes a slightly different approach, which I recommend more to the experienced Big Finish listener, simply because it is once again 4 parts long. However, the story is one big 4-part adventure set on one planet, and basically you see the Master rather excellently manipulating the people of that planet as well. It's a very dark set, much like Only the Good. And you also see the Ood in there as well, played by Silas Carlson, who is just simply superb. And of course Rage of the Time Lords as well. Check out my recent review of that, literally went out about 2 weeks ago. Really lovely set. Once again, a slightly different format to the previous 2, where you have a 2-parter at the end of the box set featuring Paul McGann, which is brilliant, and also 2 very interesting stories to start with as well, based on Earth within the World War and Coney Island, which is very cool. And basically you see the Master once again manipulating the people of birth, so a really strong series, and I recommend it both to new listeners who wish to get into the War Master, but also experienced listeners as well. In fact, if you are an experienced listener, and if you have experienced the 5th Doctor Adventures, the War Doctor Adventures, I actually think that the War Master box set should be very high up there on your list to purchase, because it is brilliant and some of the best stuff that Big Finish has produced in the past few years.
Oh, who knows what a bit of fresh blood might bring. Now, let's see. Pick one.
What? But these are...
Yeah, all the nearby worlds that are doomed. Pick one.
I can't. How can I possibly...
You just said you wanted to. Come on, have the courage of your conviction.
But to make me pick a world and let all the others die...
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Pick one.
Tell me about them.
They're all in imminent danger. What more do you need to know?
Well, I mean, their people, their culture, what they're like, just something, anything.
Yeah, you're right. It was a silly idea. Forget about it. Let's move on.
No. Wait, that one. No. That one.
Oh? Well, then. If you're sure, my dear Cole, you're off to save a world.
Next up we have a release that I certainly recommend more to that of new series listener that wants a more easier glide into the Big Finish universe, and that is of course the 10th Doctor Adventures. I've picked this one mainly because I don't think I've actually shown it in video as of yet, because this arrived after my reviews of the Volume 3 Adventures, but of course we have 3 adventures on this set, being No Place, 1 Mile Down and The Creeping Death. Naturally, if you're a 10th Doctor fan, there is currently 3 volumes available, the first featuring Donna, the second featuring Billie Piper as Rose Tyler, then of course the third one once again returning to Series 4, Donna, TARDIS team with Wilfred Mott as well as Sylvia Noble as well. A lovely set of adventures, incredibly easy to listen to and lay back and experience, especially if you're a new series fan. Nothing too complex, quite enjoyable, and a good way to start your Big Finish journey. No Big Finish recommendation video will be complete without a mention to Bernice Summerfield herself, of course Big Finish's First Lady, who in fact started her adventures on Big Finish before even Big Finish had the Doctor Who licence. In particular, the new adventures of Bernice Summerfield is where I started. I've not gone back as of yet to take a look at the more classic series of Benny adventures. There are still lots of adventures for me to experience. However, in particular for me, a series that I really do enjoy, something that once again I recommend to more experienced listeners or a Doctor Who fan who wants to experience something different and something that the TV show wouldn't do. The new adventures of Bernice Summerfield, Volume 3 and Volume 4, featuring the Unbound Doctor as played by David Warner. Now this is set within the Unbound universe, and you see a different incarnation of the Doctor, a different incarnation of the Master, basically within a universe that is collapsing, and you have this apocalyptic doomsday scenario of the universe, people trying to survive on a day-to-day basis, and basically planets being plucked off one by one. An incredibly enjoyable listen. This box set in particular got me hooked, and I love the 4th box set just as much as well. But I really love once again how confined and nice and neat this box set is. You get introduced to the Unbound universe through Benny's eyes, and that relationship that she has with the Unbound Doctor that is very different to the Doctor from our universe. He's a lot more stern, he's a lot more serious, and he is a lot less willing to get involved and help people. It is a very intriguing lesson, and I really do love it.
Lovely old pot. Now, what's special about this pot is that... don't be alarmed, everyone. It's just the Doctor, probably just turning up to be all bitchy about my grasp of archaeology. Right. Come on out.
Am I addressing Professor Summerfield?
Oh, it's a lazy Susan with you lot these days. Which one are you?
Oh, you're fun. Which one am I? The wrong one. Professor Summerfield, I need you. Take my hand, quickly.
Hey!
Now this one is a little bit of a cheat because it's not recommending just one release or one little CD. It is in fact recommending an entire series of box sets, and for those of you that watch these videos on a regular basis, you will be not surprised at all of this mention. It is of course the entirety, all 13 seasons plus special releases, of Go Lightfoot, with Christopher Benjamin as Henry Gordon Jago, alongside the late Trevor Baxter as Professor George Lightfoot. Now, I started my Big Finish journey with the 6th Doctor. In particular, one of the main releases I got was The Last Adventure, and in that box set there was Stage Fright, a story featuring these two gentlemen from the Talons of Weng Chiang, and since that story I was absolutely hooked, and I got some money for my birthday and I thought, right, I'll do it, I'll cave, even though I said I was only going to stick to Colin Baker, and I got Series 10 of Go Lightfoot, and from then I have never looked back. Go Lightfoot is my personal favourite Doctor Who spin-off of all time. I absolutely love it. These two characters are brilliant together. Throughout the whole 13 series, you really get a great idea of their strong bond and relationship. Along the way, you also meet a lot of other characters, including Ellie Higson, as portrayed once again by Lisa Bowman, who plays Bernice Summerfield in the previous mention, and also Conrad Asquith as Inspector Quick as well. You also get further inclusions of Leela, as portrayed by Louise Jameson in the early seasons, as well as a few stories featuring Colin Baker as well. The reason why I recommend the entirety of Go Lightfoot is because I think if you're going to go into Go Lightfoot, you may as well go in dedicated. Start off at the very beginning or start off wherever you wish. My main jumping on points, I believe, are Series 1, Series 5, where they go to the 60s, which is just a lot of fun and amazing. I listened to that one last year and it just had me constantly laughing. I started off, as I say, with Series 10. I think Series 8 is also a good jumping on point, and then after Series 10 it's kind of like a continuous story, so I would recommend, if you're to get any of the later ones, Series 10 onwards. But yeah, I love these sets, they're amazing, the characters are brilliant, and of course I'm devastated that we're not going to get any more Go Lightfoot due to the unfortunate departure of Trevor Baxter, but I'm just grateful for the stories that we got, because this series does generally mean a lot to me. A lot of the times when I've not really felt too good or I've felt sad or down, this box set, or this series even, has picked me up, so I highly recommend Go Lightfoot, mainly to experienced Big Finish listeners. But if you are intrigued by it and you are a new listener who's only listened to a few Big Finishes here and there, buy Series 1. It's about £15 to £20 on the website. You get a whole 4 stories like this, and it's just phenomenal. I really do love it. So yeah, Go Lightfoot, highly, highly, highly recommend.
I'll need a statement from you, Professor, and from your friend.
I'm sure tomorrow will do, Sergeant.
Oh, I'm sure it will, sir. Mind how you go.
Oh, I'll be all right. I have my friend to look after me.
Thompson, get over here, now! And bring that lantern. You there? Yeah, you. We need stretchers. And ask for that concourse to be cleared. The inspector will be here any minute, and he'll have your guts for tennis rackets.
How are you feeling, Henry?
Empty. Cold. I don't know. We did the right thing, didn't we, Professor?
And of course, naturally, if you are a fan of these reviews on a regular basis, there are 2 things that I mention very, very frequently. Go Lightfoot and another character, and that character is of course Colin Baker as the 6th Doctor, my personal favourite incarnation. Of course, I previously mentioned Stage Fright, the story featuring Go Lightfoot, and I think that if you are to like Go Lightfoot, then you've got a story with them in this box set. But also, as it is commonly known, a lot of fans do say, Colin Baker's portrayal as the Doctor is greatly improved upon through Big Finish. Their writing talents make his Doctor absolutely flawless, and they've done things with his incarnation that the TV show could only dream of. Likewise with Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, and I think that Colin is superb in every single way. And the reason why I'm recommending The Last Adventure is because there's not really too many 6th Doctor box sets. For the most part, he exists on the Doctor Who Big Finish main range, which for those of you that don't know, is like 15 quid for one CD that lasts around 2 hours, and it is one story and one adventure. Therefore, I'm recommending The Last Adventure because it's slightly more expensive, but you get a whole 4 stories. You get The End of the Line, The Red House, Stage Fright and The Brink of Death. And not only that, you get a brilliant, well-deserved departure of Colin Baker as the Doctor, regenerating into Sylvester McCoy, a much more dignified ending and a much more respectful ending, that of what the TV show gave him, and of course Michael Jason as well as the Valeyard. A really great set, which I thoroughly enjoy, and Colin is just superb, and he is one of the best Doctors on Big Finish. That's not just me saying it, a lot of people do say it. He has really stepped into this amazing role within the audio drama universe. His passion of the Doctor in the role is amazing. His sass, his presence, his relationship with his many different companions is just like no other Doctor within the 50+ years of Doctor Who. So we're on it with the 6th Doctor, I may as well throw in another additional mention. We have the Frobisher stories, in particular the Holy Terror. This is from the very early days of the monthly range, so I'm very lucky to in fact have this on CD. I found it on, I think on eBay, signed by quite a lot of the cast, including Robert Sherman, who then went on to create the Series 1 story Dalek. This episode features Colin Baker alongside Frobisher, the ship-shifting penguin, as played by Robert Zizek. A really lovely story, one of only 2 adventures to feature Frobisher, sadly. I do want more. Please, Big Finish, just make a whole box set of Colin and Frobisher. It will be amazing. A lot of fans want it, myself included. I will buy all 4,000 copies. It is so needed in order to get this series made. It is a more gritty and dark story, certainly a big departure from that of TV series Doctor Who, so I recommend it more to a fan of Doctor Who that likes the darker material, but a really great story. And that said, at the same time, if you're going to buy the Holy Terror, then you may as well pick up this little gem as well, the Maltese Penguin. This is available still on the Big Finish website, even though it is issue 33.5 from the Doctor Who monthly range. Another little Frobisher story dedicated to, I do believe, his home world, once again written by Robert Sherman. Lot of fun. Get them both. This one's only like $2.99, so why not just buy it? All hail the big talking bird. And this one's just a lot of fun as well, with Colin doing some brilliant accents. So yeah, buy them, if anything, the cheapest in this whole countdown, so buy them.
That's it. That's the idea. Find somewhere to hide. But there is nowhere to hide, is there? There's just you and me. The hunter and the prey. Swim away as fast as you can. It makes no difference. Because there's no escape from me. Now, hold still. Hold it. Damn it. Okay. Shall I eat you now, or would you like to play some more?
Frobisher, are you in there?
Oh, hey, Doc, can it wait? I'm kind of busy at the moment.
Oh, yes, so I can see.
Hey, do you mind? What's a guy got to do to get some privacy around here?
We're in trouble. The TARDIS is out of control.
The TARDIS is always out of control. Is it worth interrupting my bath time? It's embarrassing. I'm all naked here.
Frobisher, you're the shape of a penguin. You're always naked.
Well, that's what you think. I usually morph myself a black and white pair of pants as well.
But none of the controls are responding. It's as if the power's been drained elsewhere.
I feel like I have to put this incarnation of the Doctor within this recommendations, because much like the 6th Doctor, his role within Big Finish audio dramas has been massive and greatly improved upon from what the TV show did in fact contribute to him. I'm of course talking about Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, a Doctor that only appeared in the TV show once, as well as of course the mini-sode Night of the Doctor. Now this is Ravenous 1. Of course the main issue with the recent 8th Doctor stuff is that there is this continuous plot arc that has been going on since Doom Coalition 1, and now we're on to Ravenous, and it can be quite daunting for new fans to pick up these releases. However, it's not impossible. Doom Coalition is quite complex and I recommend it more to the experienced Big Finish listener, but it is still quite a lot of fun. Gallifrey Corruption, River Songs in there as well, the introduction of the phenomenal 11 as portrayed by Mark Bernard, and also a few Weeping Angel stories. So if you are a fan of new series Doctor Who that is used to more complex storytelling, Doom Coalition by all means, go and buy it. But then you have Ravenous. This one is slightly more relaxed, it's got a few more independent stories in there, and does feel a little bit more calm and considered compared to that of Doom Coalition. Once again, you get Mark Bernard, so what is not to like? The Candyman is in the first box set, a really chilling story with him. Personally, I love Ravenous 1. Box set 2 has the Strasbourg Christmas special, which is really cool, and then the most recent box set included many different companions from the 8th Doctor era, era. Of course, there is also the Lucy Miller Adventures. I've literally only a few days ago bought a few of those. I've not listened to them as of yet. One of the most recent releases I've also reviewed is the Further Adventures of Lucy Miller, which is a great jumping on point and opportunity once again, although I can't comment on the standard 8th Doctor and Lucy stuff that came out from 2007 onwards, as I've not listened to them personally yet, but I have heard from many fans that they are incredibly good, so maybe consider those as well. Likewise for Dark Eyes 1 as well, I've heard that that box set is one of the best box sets that Big Finish have ever produced, but once again, I've not listened to that. It is on the list, it's currently on my shelf just up there, and I'm ready to get round to listening to it at some point when I have time.
In! Get in!
An education. Getting dragged around on the end of this chain. Yeah, I thought I'd met all the insane Time Lords, but you... well, you're something else.
Quiet, human. The 11 needs you, but we don't need your tongue.
Nice. Real class act, that one. Number 6, wasn't it?
Very observant for a lesser species.
Padrak got away. He's a friend of the Doctor, isn't he?
Already told you to shut up, 8. All of you, be silent!
They just keep popping up. How'd you get anything done? The Doctor's got you rattled, hasn't he?
We told you once, human. We won't warn you again. 6, back in your box. Pay no heed to him, my dear. We're civilized, don't you know?
Don't trust them, any of them. First chance you get, Liv. Run!
Ignore 8. Run, and you will be dissected. I said silence!
Another new series contribution now, we have the War Doctor Adventures with the late John Hurt. Now this was in fact one of the first ever box sets, or at least the series was one of the first ever ones set up after the Big Finish new series licence was in fact established. Now I love this series simply because it got to expose the War Doctor a little bit more from what we got within the TV show itself, that one appearance, and if the licence was signed any later for the new series on Big Finish, we wouldn't have got this series because of course John Hurt did in fact pass away, I do believe about a month or so after the production of the final volume of the War Doctor Adventures. I think this one was in fact pushed back a little bit due to his passing. Now in a morbid manner, I suppose it is, that unlike with the 8th Doctor Adventures, they go on for a long time. You don't really know where they are going to end. With me currently listening to Ravenous, I don't know how many box sets is going to continue on from this and how many essentially I've committed myself to now buying. With the War Doctor series, there is only 4 box sets with 3 episodes in each. Only the Monstrous in particular is really, really good, but we're not going to get any more. By buying into this series, it is confirmed naturally that we're not going to be getting any more adventures. That both makes this series an excellent tribute to John Hurt. It is also the definitive ending for his Doctor, because we're not really going to get any more unless they do short trips, but also it's a really nice delve into his actual character, with some really lovely Time War stories in there as well, featuring lots of Daleks, so what's not to like? Once again, I recommend this one for new series listeners in particular, because it's a bit more classic, but it's kind of on that bridge between the two. It's quite complex, but it's got new series elements in there, making it kind of good for both experienced and new listeners. But yeah, I do recommend this maybe a little bit more to the new series area of the fandom. Ugh, fandom, I hate that word.
Just one thing before you go.
What?
Where can I find you, Doctor, when I need you again?
At the heart of the battle, where the blood of the innocents flows, and only the monstrous survive.
Because I'm feeling generous, I'm going to throw in a little other main range contribution that I've literally just gone and picked up off the shelf because I've seen it out the corner of my eye. This is one from the early half of the monthly range, issue 74, and it is Live 34, an episode that I have in fact reviewed. I've gone back and reviewed this one because I loved it that much and I wanted to tell everybody about it. But this story is a very unique 7th Doctor adventure, once again quite dark, and it basically is set within radio broadcasts on a radio show, perfect for audio drama, of this colony planet sort of out in space where there's lots of corruption going on. It is a really great story. Once again, I recommend this more to the experimental listener as opposed to the new listener who wants to have a more simple form of story, because this one is very unique. But yeah, I recommend this to, if you start with your Big Finish listening and then after a year have found out that you really enjoy Big Finish, or even after a few months, then I recommend picking this one up because A, it's pretty cheap. You can throw it in with one of your other box set orders boxes, much like how I used to do. I normally used to get, say, a box set and a singular CD from the reduced pile. And yeah, this one's a really thoroughly good adventure, and I had this recommended to me many times, so I thought, alright, I'll get it. Turns out I really loved it, so yeah, I recommend that one as well. It's a great adventure, very unique, starring Ace and Hex as the 7th Doctor companions. And finally, my last recommendation for this video, because I kind of feel like I've already blown the majority of your wallet by this point, we have Gallifrey Time War. This is another series I've recently really started enjoying. I've not actually gone back and listened to the previous Gallifrey series. I jumped on with this box set. Surprise, surprise, it features Derek Jacobi. But this series is very much Gallifreyan political drama. I recommend it more to the experienced Big Finish listener as opposed to a newcomer. But yeah, lots of experimental stories. This one in particular I really do enjoy, and this box set as well features the resurrection of Rassilon, played by none other than the Demon Headmaster himself. So I think that this is certainly the best representation of the Time War that I've listened to so far. After not particularly getting some of the 8th Doctor Time War stuff, I still need to go back and revisit those, but I really do like this series, as I say, more for the experienced listener, but some really lovely developments of Louise Jameson as Leela, as well as of course Lala Ward as Romana, and of course the brilliant Narvin as well, as portrayed by Sean Carlson, who is of course an amazing Big Finish creation. And just to note as well, this box set does in fact introduce, or at least reference, a character called Irving Braxiatel, who also appears within the Bernice series as well. So yeah, if you buy that one as well as maybe consider Bernice, you kind of have a little bit of an overlapping theme. And of course Derek Jacobi with Leela. It's exciting, it's very good. And that is really it for this video. I could go on and on and on and recommend so many more releases, but I kind of feel like I've gave a nice balance between the new series and the classic series, as well as the different types of series that Big Finish do of course create as well, from the regular Doctor Who adventures as well as the Doctor Who spin-offs. So naturally, if you are looking to get into Big Finish, and if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to help by replying to those. And also, if you have any other Doctor Who recommendations, there is so many, I can't believe I've just remembered right now. The Chimes of Midnight and Spare Parts, they are pretty much Big Finish musts, especially Spare Parts. Incredible. Go on, buy that. The next order, it's only like $2.99 I think on download, but a phenomenal story and much loved by fans. But yeah, I think the beauty with Big Finish is that the back catalogue is that immense and that large, that there is essentially something for everybody to enjoy. And I think that people these days get used to being able to see on Netflix, starting a series and then watching it all the way through to the end. With Doctor Who on Big Finish in particular, I don't think there is anybody in existence that hasn't actually listened to them. There is nobody that would have listened to every single Doctor Who audio drama Big Finish release, and I think that is the beauty of it. It goes on forever. You will never have listened to absolutely everything, and therefore there is always going to be something on your list to buy. And that is why, in summary, every Big Finish fan has basically got an empty wallet, because you've just got this constant list of, I want that, that sounds good, that looks interesting, I'll buy that. Won't delve into that series. Several years later, you've delved into it. It's the story of a Big Finish fan, and I highly recommend getting into it, even if it can get expensive at times. But hey, it's fun, it's entertaining, and it's Doctor Who at its best. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you want more detailed descriptions of the more recent Doctor Who Big Finish audio dramas, then check out my Doctor Who Big Finish reviews. I do them on a regular basis of many of the upcoming releases, from box sets to the main range as well. So yeah, check out all of them. I suppose stay tuned for more Doctor Who content every single week on The Host Productions. And of course, on that note, I will see you all next time. Bye for now, and happy birthday, Big Finish.